Physical gold and silver, this is sound money. It is so critical for you to have a sound money strategy and portfolio along with the other pieces that can ensure or assure that you can retain and maintain a reasonable standard of living. Food, water, energy, security, barterability, which for me is primarily silver, though anything, silver in any form, right? Food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter. Get it done, get it done. That's what this is showing me. The safe haven of choice has become gold.
As early as the Byzantine Empire, gold was used to support national currencies, that is, those considered legal tender in their nation of origin. Gold was also used as the world reserve currency up through most of the 20th century. The United States used the gold standard until 1971. Fiat money started to predominate during the 20th century. Since President Richard Nixon's decision to suspend U.S. dollar convertibility to gold in 1971, a system of national fiat currencies has been used globally. Historically, the silver standard and bimetallism have been more common than the gold standard. After years, the gold era is back. Growing debt and inflation are eroding fiat currencies, prompting central banks to turn to gold as a reserve asset. Central banks added a net 10 tons of gold in May, according to the latest data compiled by the World Gold Council. Central banks bought 23 tons of gold, offset by 13 tons in gross sales. The National Bank of Poland was the biggest gold purchaser in May, adding 10 tons of gold to its reserves. Lynette Zang, founder of LynetteZang.com, and chief market analyst, advocates for physical gold and silver to ensure financial security, as they represent sound money. She emphasizes that a sound money strategy and portfolio are crucial, alongside essentials like food, water, energy security, barterability, primarily through silver, wealth preservation, community, and shelter. The bond-gold return rate ratio breaking a decades-long support line indicates a significant shift, harking back to trends from the 1970s. Zhang highlights the concept of a currency life cycle, noting that everything has a life cycle, and recognizing the stages can help predict future outcomes. During times of financial breakdown, many questions arise, such as, are we facing economic conditions rivaling the 1970s stagflationary episode? Is the global economy on the cusp of a global bank run? To understand these pressing queries, let's move toward a few video clips of Lynette Zang. Before we continue, let's take a minute to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for more timely updates.
From 1971, fiat money has been created from debt like I just showed you. A properly diversified portfolio, because all of those intangible assets are predicated on the value of this underlying currency, and that is shifted. It's not something that's that's what I keep saying. I mean, I've been talking about this for so many years, and people say, well, Lynette, you've been talking about it, and nothing has happened. That's not true. It's just happening beneath the surface where you can't see what's happening until it's too late. All those issues that brought down the financial system in 2008, they were just papered over, which actually makes what's happening that much worse because there's that much more debt that we have to deal with. This is a debt crisis. Let me just keep going on. Properly diversified portfolio contains tangible assets to offset the decline in intangible assets. Like we just saw, in Argentina and Venezuela, everywhere where they do those overnight resets, that has an impact on any of the assets, the intangible assets that you're holding. So we want to make sure that you are covered. That goes away? Okay, not a problem for you. Physical gold and silver, this is sound money. It is so critical for you to have a sound money strategy and portfolio along with the other pieces that can ensure or assure that you can retain and maintain a reasonable standard of living. Food, water, energy, security, barterability, which for me is primarily silver, though anything, silver in any form, right? food, water, energy security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter. Get it done, get it done. That's what this is showing me. The safe haven of choice has become gold. Wow, isn't that interesting? Because guess what? That's been the safe haven of choice for thousands of years, and why you see central banks accumulating it the most and the fastest level in history since they started tracking it. Here's another thing to prove that the shift had occurred. The bond gold return ratio breaks a decades-long support line. How about going all the way back to the 70s again? Can you see this? Everything is full circle. I don't know why I'm basically the only one that talks about a currency life cycle, but everything has a life cycle. This is not rocket science. I do not look the same as my 9-year-old granddaughter looks. I don't look the same as my almost 11, I'll be next week, 11 years old, my grandson. I'm going to be 70. You're not looking at me and saying, I bet you're entering your teen years. Nor are you looking at them and going, boy, I bet you're going to be 70 years old soon. No, everything has a life cycle. If you can understand what it looks like in each one of those parts of that life cycle, then you can determine what is the next most likely outcome. No doubt about it, not one little teeny weeny doubt in my mind, we are at the end of this huge experiment. And let me tell you, when we come to an end of something that has gone on for 100 years, it is violent. It is not a soft landing. That is garbage. And everything I've been showing you has been the breakdown in the banks beneath the surface that you can't see. There is crisis after crisis that is unfolding, but you don't know what that looks like. So, okay, just more of the same. No. This is not more of the same. This is a huge key pattern shift.
The Bank for International Settlements warned on Sunday that rising government debt levels amid a number of major elections this year could roil global financial markets. According to Lynette Zang, what we're witnessing now is a critical shift. All of these pattern shifts are around debt and sound money, she explains. According to CBO's projections, the deficit totals nearly $2 trillion this year. Large deficits push federal debt held by the public to 122% of GDP in 2034. Economic growth slows to 2.0% in 2024 and 1.8% in 2026 and later years. Zhang poses essential questions about wealth management. How are you holding your wealth? Is it in the stock market, ETFs, mutual funds, 401ks, IRAs, or annuities? If bonds are in a structural bear market, then these assets are too. She concludes, for 6,000 years, gold has been sound money, and it still is. Make sure you're properly diversified and protect your wealth with physical gold and silver. Now let's redirect our attention to a video.
Yields, this is huge. All of these pattern shifts are around debt and sound money. What does that tell you? Who knows more about that than central banks? They know what they're doing. And what are they saying? We are in a structural bond bear market. Wait. We are in a structural bond bear market? A bear market is a negative market. Our money is created from bonds. So that means if the bonds are in a structural bear market, guess what else is in a structural bear market? How are you holding your wealth? Are you holding it in the stock market? Do you have ETFs? Do you have mutual funds? Do you have a 401k? Do you have an IRA that's in mutual funds or annuities or any of that other stuff? Because remember, if bonds are in a structural bear market, negative market, that means this stuff is too. I couldn't care less about this stuff. Do we have to work for it? Sure. And then you convert it as quickly as you can into this. We can have a quiet and peaceful revolution. Just turn that garbage into sound money. That's it. Simple. Easy peasy. Because no matter what bank you're talking about, this is from a new Bank for International Settlements report, the BIZ. The BIZ is the biggest, most important central bank in the world. So when I'm telling you about the qualities gold, where it runs no counterparty risk, it is a proven inflation hedge, gold held at home runs no political manipulation risk, and as a war chest, that all comes from the Bank for International Settlements. Those aren't my words, those are their words. And what they're saying now is, we know from experience that things look sustainable until suddenly they no longer work. Their words, not mine. That is how markets work. And so the Bank for International Settlements, the most important central banker in the world, because they are the central bank, is warning the world of a sovereign debt crisis. Not just a corporate bond problem, but what is sovereign? Sovereign is government, a government bond issue. What else do they say? Beware market's sudden wrath over debt. Beware, because the markets can overwhelm the central bank's ability to bail anything out and to create, oh, I wish that would happen to them, it will, and to create this at will and devalue everything, all the rest of the money that's already out there. But what happens to this? This becomes more valuable. That's why they have to manipulate the spot market, because a rising gold price is an indication of a failing currency, and it really is that simple. And they had to create an alternative to this so that money could flow there instead of into physical. Don't be fooled. Whatever else you have, make sure you're properly diversified. You got to do whatever is you feel most comfortable doing. But for 6,000 years, this has been sound money. It's still sound money. Look at what they're doing.
A growing number of macroeconomists and financial analysts are sounding the alarm about the exploding U.S. national debt, which is now approaching $35 trillion, or 120% of GDP. This unsustainable debt is driving de-dollarization, with a BRICS currency and a digital alternative to SWIFT coming into clearer view. The rising gold price, near all-time record highs, indicates a loss of confidence in fiat currencies. How important do you think it is to hold physical assets like gold and silver in today's economic climate? We welcome your insights in the comments section below. If you found this content valuable, don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to stay informed. Thank you for joining us on this journey.